So in the last video we talked about the sine rule and how we use it to solve for an unknown side, and we said that it is interrelated by the sides of a non-right angle triangle and the angles, and we said that the formula for that basically states that an angle or a side of a triangle over the sine of the angle opposite to it is equal to another side over the sine of the angle that is opposite to the other side. Okay, so it's quite simple. We solved two examples where over here we had to find x, and we decided that we find, or basically we use this one, this formula over here. We did x over sine of the angle which is opposite to it, which in this case was 42 degrees, and when we did so, then we had to equate it, okay, and we got 8, which is another side, over the sine of the angle which is opposite to it, which is 57, and we solved for it. In this case we had to find the angle or the opposite angle of x, which wasn't that difficult, and we did the same process. Okay, so now in this video I'm going to be talking about how the formula for finding an angle and how we do it. I told you in the last video that there's not much of a difference, and I'll show you how. It's basically you flip the whole equation, so it's like this. Okay, sinus an angle C, the last remaining angle, is equal to over the side which is opposite to it. Now again, same concept, that these angles and sides, they're opposite to each other. So in this case, or actually the sine rule, it's basically that the angles, or the formula state the angles and sides are opposite to each other. Sides are opposite to each other. That's like the main thing about this formula, opposite to each other. Okay, so, and this formula basically states that the sine of an angle, which is A, over the side which is opposite to that angle, is equal to the sine of another angle, which is B, over the side which is opposite to that angle. And same goes for the last angle and last side. Now the reason why there's three sides and three angles, sine of angles, is because a triangle has three sides and three angles. So 1 2 3, 1 2 3. Okay, I just wanted to put in some extra information. Okay, so now let's move to some examples. Okay, so let's talk about, or let's make a triangle like this, like quite a sleek looking triangle. Okay, so we have 10 8. Let's not put or let's make it centimeters, actually centimeters. We have this, which is angle x, and let's make this 47 degrees. And we have to find for x. Okay, so as you can see, x is an angle, so therefore we need to use this formula over here. So we're going to put it as sine of x over A, which is the side opposite to it, which is 8, is equal to the sine of angle B, which we know 47, so 47 degrees, over the side which is opposite to it, or the measure of the side that is opposite to it, which is 10. And when you do the calculations, you get sine of x multiplied by 10 is equal to sine of 47 degrees multiplied by 8, because you cross multiply. And in order to get rid of the 10, we divide both sides by 10, and you get sine of x is equal to sine of, or basically you get this. Okay, and then you put this information in your calculator, which is we put the fraction and sine of 47 multiplied by 8 and divided by 10. Now the twist comes over here, which is that you're going to get an answer, and in this case is 8 or sorry 5 585 585. And you guys might be wondering, an angle isn't that much. Well, that's because it's the sine of x. So in order to find the angle, we are going to put this value into, or we're going to put this value into the inverse of sine. Okay, so when you're in the middle of a calculation, you don't just round. Okay, you have to round. If you do round it to 5 significant figures. So in this case, that would be 0 8. It's 8. Yeah, so then we're going to put this value in the inverse of sine, which is 0.58502. Okay, and then this will become the sine, or the inverse of sine of 0.58502 would be, when you put that in your calculator, will make it equal to 35.8 degrees, which is rounded to 3 significant figures. So therefore x is equal to 35.8 degrees. Okay, so now let's move on to a much more challenging example. Okay, so let's do something like a triangle like this. Okay, and this is x. Wait, let me just redraw that. This is x. This angle over here is 101 degrees. This one over here is 5, and this one over here is 9, and again centimeters. Okay, so this one is going to be a little more challenging, because you see that x doesn't have an opposite side, or you don't have the value of the opposite side of x, the angle x, but you do have the opposite side of the angle 111. So this over here. Now if you look at it, okay, what you can do is find this angle. You can find this angle, and then therefore subtract 180 from 111 and this angle, and you'll get x. I'll show you how. Okay, so I'll tell you why we find this angle. It's because when you do, you have two sides, which is this side and this side, and one angle, and you're trying to find another angle. Therefore we use this formula, and again we have to use sine of, let's make this y over the side opposite to it, which is 5 is equal to sine of 111 degrees over 9. Okay, and therefore sine of y, I'll not waste time on calculations. Sine of y will be sine of 111 degrees multiplied by 5 over 9. Now you calculate that, and you get sine of y on your calculator. You get sine of y, or sine of 111 multiplied by 5 over 9. You'll get 0. Again, round to 5, a significant 5865 or 68186. Okay, so that's going to be your when you round it. Okay, then you put this in sine inverse, and you get 31 degrees. 31. Therefore the sine inverse of 0.51866 is equal to 31.2 degrees. Now we have this angle, which is 31.2 degrees, and we have this one, so we can solve for x using the theorem, or using the rule of angles in a triangle add up to 180. So you do 180 degrees minus 111 degrees minus 31.2 degrees, which will be equal to, we do that with our calculator, 31.2, which will be equal to 37.8 degrees. Okay, so that's your final answer. Now there are many variations of questions. They might not immediately give you the angle or the opposite side of an angle, as in this case you had to find another angle in order to find for the unknown angle which the examiner wants. So just a quick recap of this question. This question is really important. We didn't have the opposite side of the angle which we are looking for. We did have, however, two sides and an unknown angle and another angle. So we had to solve for that angle, and using the triangle theorem, 180 sides in an angle add up to 180, we calculate the other